Hey guys, Chris here from Tribefit, and today we are blessed to have David Mifsud here with us. David, how are you, buddy?
Yo, I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Appreciate your time. And guys, I reached out to David. David's an absolute legend. Reach out to David. He's doing some phenomenal things. He's a gym owner. He's also doing coaching with personal trainers as well. And he's doing some phenomenal things. And so I reached out to him to see if we could have a bit of a chat today about all things building and growing a business as a personal trainer, more from a face-to-face and bricks and mortar physical aspect rather than obviously the online side of things. But no doubt there's going to be synergies and similarities between the two. But David, mate, before I end up talking for about half an hour without even throwing over to yourself, mate, could you maybe give us a little bit of background about yourself, your journey, and I guess where you come from to get to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I'll do my best to keep it concise. I got into PT originally just because I was studying uni exercise science, got into PT. So I didn't really know where I was going with that degree. Didn't really want to go the physio road or anything like that. So I started doing PT because I was very passionate about it, like most people do. And found the standard trouble of had no idea how to run the business side of it. And so I struggled for about 3 to 6 months, probably 4 or 5 months. I really struggled in terms of barely making more than my rent at the good life I was working at. And so I had that style. I was scrubbing dishes on the weekend at an Italian restaurant just to make some money. Long story short, I found a business coach who I sort of bumped into, and he, illuminated to me that I was really struggling and had no idea what I was doing, which was true. One call later, I joined his 8-week, $4,500 mentorship program, and he showed me the ropes. And about 5 weeks later, I'd probably quadrupled my income and finally, quit the scrubbing dishes and made some money. Fast forward from that, the next dream of mine was always a studio. Like having a gym was just this massive, that would be amazing. And the mentor pretty much said to me, like, what's stopping you doing it? And I was like, well, I've got 1 more year of uni to go. No really idea how to start it. Only just kind of got ahead as a PT. And he said, well, look, mate, what excites you more, finishing uni or having the gym? I'm like, well, having the gym. So clearly I'm easily persuaded. And his next program was a $25,000 mastermind program. I was 20 years old at the time. Still wasn't doing amazing. I was doing okay as a PT now. And he was good at sales. And so, I went, joined the 25K program, dropped out of university and went all in. And 3 months later, had the lease to my gym. 4 months later, had the doors open. And that was about 3.5 years ago. And so the Body Shapers in Kirrawee in Sutherland Shire has been going ever since. I've got a team, myself and 4 others. We do semi-private small group training. I've been building that up. And then, as you mentioned, about a couple of months ago, decided to go into more the coaching consulting space with personal trainers, purely because a lot of the business masterminds I've been at, I kept getting asked buddy questions and people wanted help. And so I realized, it's probably time to, use this more, monetize it, help more people, really put my knowledge somewhere. And so I'd also built tons of systems for the gym on sales, on marketing. And so it was easy to, give those to trainers to help them out. And so that's been the journey the last few months, and been helping a handful of PTs, gym owners, with scaling their face-to-face business. So that's kind of where my 2 avenues are now. Between running the studio, I only do a few hours a week of training now. I do more behind the scenes marketing, systems, team stuff, just a few hours with clients, just because I know where my time's best spent. So here we are now.
Beautiful, man. Well, I guess what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask a 2-part question here. And I know earlier we talked about, and we'll get to this in a sec, in regards to, and it might actually be the answer to the question, but just in case we can separate it. I know earlier you talked about, investing in yourself and how that created a massive evolution in your life. But before we jump onto that, 2 steps of the journey. So one was going from a struggling trainer working in someone else's gym to a high performing or a higher performing trainer working in someone else's gym. And then the second phase is obviously then getting your own keys, getting your own lease and taking that kind of to the next level. If you go to the first journey, and I guess people listening to this could fall into either one of those 2 buckets right now, what would you say were the most what would you say were the biggest key things that allowed you to transform and evolve from a struggling trainer to a high performing or a better performing trainer in that first year?
One was mindset, one was skill set. The first mindset was just belief, because I didn't really see a lot of money in PT when I first started. And the mentor, one of the things he did was show me the numbers and show me this many clients, this much money. You can do quite well and you can actually do things. And honestly, that was a huge shift, just seeing the belief in the program. And he showed any case studies, like he showed me what was possible. And that just lit me up with the energy to go do it. And the skill set, honestly, at the time was sales. Because I could get leads okay. And they showed me a few quick tactics to get leads in the gym. But then it was learning how to sell. And with no experience in sales, I was not the most outgoing guy in general. When I was younger, I've gotten better now being in industry, but I wasn't overly outgoing, no sales experience, no idea what I was doing. I still remember the first person I tried to sell because I sat down with them and I just went, oh yeah, this is how my training works. Would you like to do it? And they were like, oh, I'll think about it. And I was like, great, they're thinking about it. Awesome. And they, continued to think about it and never came back. So no experience with sales. That was the main thing. Once I figured out lead gen, which was pretty quick, it was, okay, how do I get a high percentage of people across from me to sign up for a long-term program, pay me good money, because that's scalable then, and I could do things with that. So they were the two things that very quickly, went from barely making any money to scaling that very quickly. And in a gym of about 10 trainers, so it was quite competitive. It was quite like dog eat dog world. And so that gave me the leg up with that.
Beautiful, man. Well, probably before we jump to the next stage of I guess your evolution, probably the one thing that I'll just sit on right there, and it's so powerful what you mentioned. And guys, running a business or being your own being a business owner or doing whatever it might be, whatever structure is, it's a very emotional headspace thing. And so you can get up at every day and tell yourself why you can't and why the economy's changed. And if someone, if you meet a trainer and they're killing it for whatever reason, why they're different than you and they're in a different location and they started 6 months before you, or whatever it might be. And it's such an emotional thing. And it's not until you sit down and someone goes, hey, I call BS on that. Look at all of these people here that have a similar background to you, potentially a worse off journey, live in a less affluent area or whatever it might be. And look what they're doing. It's not until you then go, you know what, cut the bullshit. And there are people just like me all the way around the world doing it day in and day out. Why not me?
Yep.
Very, very powerful.
I'll stop you on that really quickly, because I joined these programs and they were all group-based programs and masterminds. And I think that was the other side of it, is that the belief you're talking about there, if you need that, get around people who have it, because you will learn. And everyone knows the Jim Rohn saying, you're the average of 5 people you hang out with the most, but it's fucking true. Like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. End of conversation. So if you get around people who believe in themselves, guess what? You're going to start believing in yourself. And when I joined these programs, the mentor running it, I almost borrowed their belief in themselves. And that's what sunk into me. So it's so true. And that's just what I found the quickest way to get around people who already do it.
Beautiful, mate. Spot on. So now jump into the next stage. So you've decided to open up your own gym, and obviously being, new to that process of actually being the owner of the gym. What would you say were the key mistakes you made and the key learnings that you made that allowed you to go to where you are?
I like how you started with the mistakes, because there was a plethora of them. Look, the biggest takeaway, the thing I did the best was I was working real hard. Like, it sounds like we all say work hard, but I was moving. Like, I was running ads, testing ads like crazy. I was marketing like crazy. If I was driving somewhere, I was calling leads, or I was listening to something I could learn. That was the only thing that kept me going, because the mistake I made was I was just being so unrefined. Like, jumping into it that quick, no systems. I didn't know how I was running the workouts. I didn't know how I was keeping clients accountable. I was promising them grand results in my sales. And then they wouldn't even get like a follow-up message for like a month. So the mistake I made was this dichotomous thinking of, I need more clients, so I better keep marketing and selling. So I need more clients. And I don't have time for systems yet. And because I thought it was one or the other, I did no systems. I had no structure. And this was the days where Facebook ads were golden. I was getting you probably remember, I was getting like $5 fucking leads, right? Yeah. And it was beautiful. And I could bring 10 new clients in the door like every week if I just put enough money into it. And I was making crazy ROI for their first month, but then 80% would leave. And then I would just go, well, I'll just replace them, fuck it. Which again, it looked good on paper, like getting all these people in the door, but so many were burning out because I didn't have any systems in place. And I shouldn't have, it wasn't like I should have done a ton of systems. I should have just gone, I wish I just realized one system a week, one system a fortnight, just do something. It's not one or the other. It's not like you're either in marketing and sales mode or systems mode. It's just more percentage time here, because that's where you need to. If you haven't got clients, don't systemize shit. It's not like, hasn't got anyone in it. But just build something. Like, what are those one or two keys? If I did an accountability system from day one, I would have been where I'm at 2 years faster. something simple as that. Like, how am I going to keep my clients on track? So as soon as they miss one session, they don't miss the next one, because that's when they stop. Yeah. So that's the biggest learning I had. And it's only, and I'm still like, I just don't like, I'm not naturally a systems guy. So it's still like I've got to work on. But that was the learning I had, that it probably took me 12 months of up and down client base to learn. So definitely that.
Beautiful, mate. And I know we talked about it before we jumped on this interview for a little bit as well. And it's about owning. If you have a vision and you know where you want to get to, the only person that's going to get you there the fastest, with the most passion, the most energy, and sleepless nights trying to figure out these problems is you. And you can't, David, if you were like, oh, I'm the marketing dude, and I'm just going to find the cleaner out back who told me he knows how to do systems, and pay him a couple of bucks to do my systems for you, then you wouldn't have been able to get to where you are. You took ownership and went, well, like you were saying there was a stage where you took ownership. And you're like, well, no, I've got to get this system. I've got to start doing systems, because I can't have one outweigh the other, because it's not going to be a solid business. So what made you, was there a defining moment where you're just like, you know what, time to pull a finger out, and I've got to at least do some systems? I don't have to be a systems guru, but I've got to at least do some.
There wasn't one moment. It was just, I really believe in the philosophy, like, you're going to keep learning the same lesson until you learn it properly. And I just kept getting reminded of this lesson, that you're going to keep having this hole in your bucket. And I was trying to fill the bucket with more water instead of just fixing the hole. And as eventually too much water sinked out, and I started very slowly patching it up. And there was no one moment. So yeah, I think, and like, let's relate this health and fitness, right? Someone gains a couple of kilos. They know they're getting a few kilos, but what do? They sweep it on the fucking rug. And then it's a few more kilos, and then it's 10, and then it's 15. It's very similar to business. Like, we have this problem and we see it, and we get this little like, all right, there's the problem. And then what do? It's too hard to address. I don't know how to do it. I don't like systems. I don't want to do it. So we sweep it on the rug, and then it builds and it builds and it builds until eventually it's too much. And so it's very similar to people who let themselves get out of shape. And you look at them, they walk in, you're like, how did you get this big? Well, they just kept ignoring little warning signs. And I just kept ignoring little warning signs for so long, until eventually, I had to do something about it, and then just started chipping away at it, and slowly improved it. And again, it's still probably, it's possibly still a weakness a little bit, but it's so much more improved. So yeah, I think it's when you realize something's not working, just, again, you have to take ownership. Like I said before, own it. It's no one else's fault. You're the owner. You're the business owner. Guess what? Everything's your bloody fault. Doesn't matter who you are. It's not to say to blame yourself. Like no one's to blame, but it's always my responsibility. That's the attitude I think you need. And then from that, okay, well, what's the first step? Like, sometimes we go big and grand and dichotomy. If I'm going to solve this, I'm going to do this big ass plan. I'm going to like figure out everything. It's like, what would just be the first step? What would just be one system I could build today? If you're struggling with marketing, you don't need like this massive 7-thing funnel that's like perfect and all emails automated out with the right timing and the right wording. Yeah. Like, what would just be like one thing you could do slightly better? Like, learn a bit more about copy, learn a bit more about how to just get, okay, people hit my landing page, they drop off. What do I need to do to make that a little bit better? Or I'm getting leads and only 1 in 10 gets on the, like, just what's one step at a time. Again, we tell our fucking clients it all the time. Don't change the whole diet at once. Just do one thing. We don't do it as business owners. So we need to go one step at a time.
That is so powerful. It is so powerful and so true. And the amount of times I hear people that are like, oh, I've got this great business. I'm going to launch it. Been working on it for 6 months. I'm probably ready in 6 months' time once I've built my, super duper 2,000 email warm-up sequence to this, to that. Like, you could have been out there impacting and helping lives already. Get out there. Take that one step at a time. And another thing, just on what you're saying, is the ownership side of things, guys. And a book that I've read many, many times, it's called The Breakthrough Business, and it talks about break down to get breakthrough. You need to get to a level where your business or in your personal life or whatever, where you have a breakdown to allow you to go, okay, now I need to take ownership. I'm going to break through. I'm going to cut through. And they're the moments when everything's going rosy and golden. It's pretty hard to go, I'm going to do the stuff that I don't particularly love. But when the chips are down, that's when you have the breakthroughs. You push your back against the wall and you're forced to do something and evolve and take ownership. And that's when really the magic happens, mate. Cool. This is awesome. We could talk for hours and hours and hours, no doubts. Trainer, high-performing trainer, business, gym owner, going really well at the moment, into the coaching side of things. So I guess in terms of those that are listening right now, David, if you could give, and I'm going to probably put you on the spot here, mate, because it's hard to condense all this stuff. But if you could give two tips to a personal trainer that's listening right now, that's going, God, I wish I could be a little bit more successful in my face-to-face, whether they're a gym owner, whether they're not a gym owner, what would you say as two little bits of advice?
Sure. Number one, start learning and investing in marketing. I mean, social media marketing is definitely the big one. There's other forms taking over. Just be open-minded. It's not too hard. And the second you are open-minded to trying to learn it, the second you'll realize you can learn it, and you'll be able to get ahead, because it's an industry that's getting more competitive, but they're not teaching this stuff yet to most trainers. And so if you want to get ahead, it doesn't matter if you have a gym or, like, I'm coaching a guy in Perth with a gym, and he literally didn't know how to run a Facebook ad. And I was like, fucking hell, man, are you ready for clients? Like, do you want them? Like, here we go. Like, he's never done it before. And so a lot of people still aren't onto that. And if you're not, like, you're just gonna get left behind at the end of the day with the way the world's going. There's something like 1 in 5 like posts on Facebook or Instagram now are ads, because like a lot of people are getting to it. It's getting more popular, which means if you don't get on it now, it's going to be too saturated. It's going to be game over to use it in a couple of years. And Gary Vaynerchuk, if you follow him, talks a lot about this too. Like, these are the golden years of getting on it, and you can get ahead and get a foundation, get your branding, and get clients, and then make money too, obviously, from it. And so just be open-minded, start learning and start investing in it. And I think number two, I'm torn between a couple of them. I'll say find someone, like, invest in yourself. I told my story. This covers so many things that it has to be number two, that if you are willing to invest in yourself, and think about an ATM. If you want ATM, if you could put $100 in ATM and get $1,000 out, you'd do it. But you have to put the $100 in first. If you're willing to invest in a coach, you're willing to take a very small step back, you can go very fast forward. Like pulling an arrow back will let it go forward. Most people just aren't willing to pull back or invest in themselves. And I believe it's because they don't believe in themselves enough that they'll get the return. Because if I guaranteed you, if you put 20K into this mentor for a year, you'd make 200, everyone would do it. But people don't believe in that process. And so it's such a good blanket thing, because whether you're struggling with the delivery in your business, whether you're struggling to get clients results, your marketing, your sales, if you've got a team, you don't know how to use a team, be open-minded, because there's enough people out there on someone who's done it, who's faced those challenges, because they are the accelerator at the end of the day for whatever skill you may be missing. And be open-minded to that. And it's the quickest way to get stuck is the ego around, I can figure it out, I know what I'm doing. You need to take ownership, but at the same time, be open to learning. They're not, again, it's not a dichotomy. It's not like, it's on me, I figured it all out, or it's never my fault, it's my coach's fault. Why are my ads working? It's your fault. It's not this one or the other. So just be open-minded, because that covers everything, instead of me going to each skill that people need.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. And just to, I guess, resonate on what you've said, the point two, guys, everything anyone's trying to do, unless you're trying to build a bloody spaceship to Jupiter, it's all been done before. It's all been done before. Find someone that's done it, see how they did it, replicate them. It's all been done before. You're not creating the wheel for the first time. Point two, and point one, going back to the Facebook ad side of things, and this is a bit of a bee in the bonnet for me at the moment, is that there's all these hypey ads out there going, oh, Facebook ads, you know, they're getting harder, they're getting more expensive. Yes, they are. And as David said, yes, they are. But as David was talking about before, they used to be ridiculously easy, ridiculously profitable.
Stupid.
And now they're just a little less profitable. Who gives a shit? Get in there. Don't think to yourself, oh, you know, this guy's saying it's getting more expensive, it's getting harder and harder, and you need this and you need that. You just need to get in there.
Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you the alternative. Stand on the fucking street corner with a flyer and see how that goes for you. Like the alternative is still way worse. Yeah, man. Like it's just an attitude, and it's business. Like business is improvement. Like the reason like things are so good is because it got more competitive. So the only way to stand out was to get better. That's just what's happening in advertising. Where if I ran the same ad I ran 3 years ago, I probably pay like $200 for a fucking lead, but it's terrible. The image is terrible. The copy makes no sense. The only difference now is you have to make things better to get the same result, which again is business, is welcome to life, like improvement, capitalism, like embrace it, get better. Because otherwise otherwise, okay, just accept and get losing. But yeah that's pretty much the attitude you need to take.
Definitely. And probably to sum the whole thing up, and once again, resonate on what you've just said there. The reason why it's becoming more competitive, guys, is because it works. People are only doing it. More and more people are doing it because it bloody works. So as a result, it becomes more competitive.
Yeah.
But the key factor is it works.
And with that, like, I think the thing I'm seeing with working with people now and being around this space for years, you need to, because it's competitive, you need to stand out. And by stand out, it's like, be fucking you. Like, everyone's got their person, and it's cheesy, but it works. If you want to stand out, like, use your personality, because here's the thing, the fitness world, a lot of people are just saying the same shit. It's the same information. So you have to realize, even though it's the same information, you can apply a different presentation. You can be different, even if you're saying something similar to everybody else who's talking about macros and calories or this, whatever. It's all the same stuff, but your benefit can be the presentation and your personality. And if you want to do this stuff well, everyone knows the strategy, but only you can really supply your unique personality. That's hard to coach. It's also hard to steal. Because right now I can go onto Chris's Facebook and look at his ads and try to duplicate the words he's saying, but I can't duplicate his personality and who he is when he does things behind the scenes or on video, things like that. And so if you're using it and you're like, oh, how do I actually stand out and actually act competitive? You have to actually start showing your personality. If you go to the Body Shapers, my gym, and look at our info and ads, because you can see everyone's ads, like, they're a commodity these days. My videos are stupid. Like, there's ones of me like jumping out of a box. There's me in a beach doing, we set up a beach in the gym. I'm doing bicep curls, and it's because we're running a promotion on a beach. I'm not being stupid for the sake of it. I'm being stupid because A, I'm a bit of a like goose sometimes, and B, I know that I need to stand out. And if I just run the same old, hey, we've got a challenge, guess what? They keep on scrolling. And so I think that a big thing for that to realize is, yes, competitive, stand out with being you. And that's, how beautiful is that? You can be yourself, and it does better than being someone else. Like, what a great fucking world we live in. But that's the thing that I see when I see people's good ads is I see the person. It's not this robotic, all right, I've got to say these words thing. So that's huge for me.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. David, mate, this has been phenomenal. We touched on earlier stages of evolution of a trainer working in a gym. We touched on becoming a gym owner, going to the next level. We also touched on how everyone can be improving their physical personal training business and also online. It all kind of relates. But I guess, David,
principles are the same. Yeah.
Oh, Matt, the principles and foundations of any good business are the same. It doesn't matter. Yes, there's nuances to the delivery or specifics or whatever, but all key businesses are the same. In terms of, I guess, to wrap things up, mate, if people want to check out more about you, about what you do and all that sort of stuff, where would they go to find more of you?
Just search for David Mifsud on Facebook, to be honest, is the main one. Like, it's all just personal branded at the moment. Keeps interesting. Same on Instagram. Just Dave Mifsud, you'll find me. So yeah, that's where it is. And look out for my ads. They're coming.
I think you mentioned as well.
Yeah, so I've got a podcast. My podcast is very just personal development at the moment, but it's called the Hustle and Fitness Bootcamp podcast, because everyone knows muscle and fitness, and so cheesy, hustle and fitness. But there's some good business stuff there, but it's not like diving into deep business strategy yet. I might go down that road, but yeah, my personal page on Facebook is where I just posting content, and same on Instagram a little bit.
Beautiful, mate. Well, look, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy fella, and we've all got to get back into it, but I appreciate your time. Some real gold nuggets there, guys. And no matter what stage you are at, as you can see, there is different tips that could help you in that evolution. And once again, it's all a journey, so there's no need to think that you need to leapfrog in a day or whatever it might be. But David, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it, mate. Buddy. And guys, anyone wants to check out David, check out his social media platforms, and obviously some real good stuff there as well. David, that's it from us today. Thanks heaps for your time again, buddy.
Awesome. Appreciate it, mate. No worries. Thanks for having me.
Speak soon, mate. Bye.